A burr.
I do a fix and flip. Yeah, sure. It's just a method that I prefer.
Yo, you have some classics, bro. The way you flip that, oh man, there's not too many people that can do that, bro. If you don't know, you probably already know. But if you don't know, your favorite influencer, your favorite guy that talks all about Burr, but also being your own bank. This is the man. You guys already know who this is, but I got Devin Burr in the building, in the studio. Got the whole new backdrop. Got the Jordans in the back. Bro, it's a pleasure having you on the show.
Pleasure being here, man. If you don't know, now you know, homie.
Now you know. So, Devin, it's cool because we actually are friends in real life. I've followed you for a few years through Sam Tackney, one of our good friends. And it's just cool to be able to like see someone on social media, meet them in person, and they're just authentic and they're themselves. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like so many people portray a certain image on social media, and you're just a cool ass dude. And I love chopping it up with you. So I just appreciate our friendship. I kind of want to say that just right out the gate.
Dude, man, I appreciate you, bro. Same thing. I can't say enough about you. Like, it's funny you said, Sam, you messed his last name up, though. He's going to hate you for that one.
Oh, no.
It's Tashney.
Bro, I've been calling him Tackney for like years. He's never correct. That's such a Sam thing to do. Sam is like the nicest, most humble guy that you can mess up his name for years. He'll never correct you. Wow, I feel terrible.
Yeah, bro, it's Tashney. So
Tashney.
Yeah, but yeah, same thing, man. He would always say great things about you. He's like, man, you got to meet this dude, Jesse Ray. He's a homie. Puts on this growth house, gets a bunch of high level people together, and I think you guys would really click. And yeah, so nothing but good things to say about you, man. I appreciate you having me on, and just appreciate our friendship and everything that comes from it, man.
Yeah, that's love. And you're going to be one of the mentors. You're coming to Immersion. So I want to highlight that. Appreciate you coming out. You're going to spend a few days with us. That's the end of this month, May. We're probably not going to, it's actually probably going to be after our Immersion event. This will be, live. But I just want to say also thank you for that. So as we dive into this, I want people to know, who is Mr. Burr? Everyone knows you from Instagram, but if they don't, what are you about right now? What does your lifestyle look like? And then we'll take a step back.
So right now, like I'm a daddy first, above anything. I'm a daddy. I've got a 6-month-old daughter, also a 16-year-old daughter. So above all, I'm a daddy and a husband. I think too many times people put everything else above what really matters, like business and making money, the cars, the watches, all that stuff. They put it above what costs nothing, which is family. And that's what I am. What I do is I teach people how to become the bank. That's not who I am. That's just what I do. I teach people how to do it. And what I've learned is the more people I help, the more people I teach, the more people I am able to help them take back control of their money, the more successful I become. So I've gotten addicted to helping people learn how money works because it makes me more successful. So why wouldn't I help more people? That's what I love about social media, man. It's a free platform, and I can cast a huge net to help a lot of people because of the fact that everyone's on their phones.
We're going to dive into all this social media, becoming your own bank, but take us back. You were not always successful, millionaire status, had a huge Instagram following and this overall social media. So take us back to, when did this start, the entrepreneurship bug in your journey into also personal development? Because I know mindset is super important to you as well.
Mindset's huge, man. So really the whole entrepreneur thing started at a very, very young age. I just didn't really capitalize on it until I was in like my mid 30s. But when I was, I think, third grade, we used to have these bake sales at my elementary school. And the most popular thing of those bake sales were those caramel apple lollipops. Remember those joints?
No, but it sounds really good.
Bro, I think they still make them. It's literally a caramel apple. So it's a apple sucker.
Oh, yes. It's green and then has the caramel underneath.
Bro, it's like the best sucker of all time.
All
So
right. I'm with you on that.
those would sell out at my bake sale like that, right? So I saw an opportunity because there was a shortage. So what I did is I would use my parents' Costco membership and go get this big bag of these suckers. And I don't even remember how much it was. Maybe this big bag was like $5, right? And there was like 200 of them. So I'd sell them at school for like 25 cents a piece or 50 cents a piece. I don't remember what it was. I'm bringing home like a lot of money by solving the problem at the bake sale. Everyone would sell out. So I had the extra suckers. I would just, bro, I'd bring so much money. I remember one time my mom was like, where are you getting all this money from? Are you stealing it from your dad? And I thought to myself, I was like, Mom, isn't dad broke? Because that was like the whole thing in our family, like turning lights off because, you know, electricity from lights is like nothing, doesn't waste anything. But my dad's turning lights off. He's shutting doors if the AC's on. Like we had this scarcity mindset growing up. So for me to have all this extra money in like 8 years old, that's kind of where it started, man. And then I had a bunch of jobs, probably no joke, 50 jobs through my 20s because I just hated being told what to do. Hated it. Like you can't tell me what to do, especially if I'm doing it right and I'm getting results. Like don't tell me how to do it. You know what I mean? So I was just a
What are some
horrible
of these?
employee.
What are some of these jobs that you had?
Oh, dude, I worked at I've sold cars. I've sold long distance at MCI back before everyone had their phones with long distance. I sold shoes. I've sold like every telemarketing job you could think of. I sold merchant processing, like you name it, I've sold it. And I hated every second of it. I hated being an employee. Hated it.
Mm. I could relate so much to that story of like the early childhood, and you just have that kind of opportunistic hustler mentality. I just remember when I was about 8, I would, buy basketball cards, Pokemon cards, and then I would flip the ones I didn't want. I put them in my own little pre-cased packages, and I'll sell them
Yeah.
to kids in our neighborhood or apartment complex. And
Yeah.
then I would, what else did I do? I also did it in school when I would go to the neighborhood grocery store, and I would get a bunch of energy drinks. And so our school wasn't allowed to sell things with sugar. So I would be the supplier of like energy drinks and candy. Almost got kicked out and I got in trouble for that. I had to shut down my operation. But I used to have the stack of ones in this little rubber band, man. Bro, the days.
Dude, I always wanted things that money bought, right? Like
Yeah.
as a kid, I've always liked shoes, as you guys can tell. This is just a fraction of the amount of shoes I have. It's a problem how much I like shoes, right? And it's always been like that. As a kid, we were allowed one pair of shoes a year. So we'd get a pair of shoes, don't even ask for another pair. I wanted more fucking pairs. So that's why I started, trying to find solutions for problems as a kid, because I knew if I did that, I could make money. And if I could make money, I could buy the things I wanted.
I totally hear you on that. Can definitely relate. So you're doing all these different, it sounds like mostly sales jobs.
Mhm.
And you're probably doing, decently well. You said you're getting some results, but you're like, I don't want anyone telling me what to do. What was that
Yeah.
transition after that?
Man, so through my 20s, I was actually pretty lost as a person. I'm sure a lot of people are like that, just trying to figure out who you are and what your place is in the world. And I had a daughter at 22, so that threw a crazy wrench into it because I was a kid at 22. I was a knucklehead. I was so immature. And to have a kid, I had to kind of grow up when I didn't want to. So I just wilded out through my 20s. I made a lot of mistakes. I was in survival mode. Like I said, I had like 50 jobs. Sometimes I had 3 jobs at one time just to pay the bills. And at 31 years old, I was a full-time dad. My ex-wife moved, which crazy. My ex-wife is our friend Sam Tashby, his current wife. Crazy story. We can get into that, but
I know people are like, wait, what?
So
all right, you already opened that up, so you might as well explain that. Want to explain it now or down the line?
So guys, my 16-year-old daughter, her mom is now married to Sam Tashney, who is one of my best friends now. I met him through her. They've been together for like 12 years. But yeah, him and I are great friends now. We go on trips together and we do business together. So it's a very unique dynamic that we have, and it's great for our daughter because she gets two strong business-minded people or dads, father figures. So yeah, man. My ex-wife moved to Minnesota with Sam back in 2014, I believe. So I'm 31 years old and lost, man. Super lost. Check to check, jumping from job to job, could barely afford the rent at my apartment. I had a 1-bedroom apartment. My daughter and I slept in the same room. And by the time she was 9, so 2016, I was 31. I had $300 to my name. That is it. And I had rent due. Rent was more than $300. Couldn't afford the rent. I had to, I think, borrow money to break the lease. And then I had to move in with a friend. I rented a bedroom from him, a couple $100 a month, could barely afford that. Had to sell my bed, most of my belongings. So I had a mattress. Me and my daughter, 9-year-old daughter, are sleeping on this mattress on the floor. And I kind of felt like I had hit rock bottom. And then sure enough, something else happened. When it rains, it pours, right? So I got my heart broken by the woman that I was like madly in love with, thought she was the one, and she just ripped my heart out of my chest. And I'll never forget this, man. It was October 2016, and I get emotional thinking about it. My daughter and I are sitting on this mattress on the ground, and I just started breaking out in tears, man. I just ugly face crying to this little girl because like I was in so much pain inside. Just I was broken financially, I was broken spiritually, I was broken emotionally. I couldn't hold back my like pain anymore. I couldn't shield her from it. So yeah, man, broke out and cried in front of this little girl and just had thoughts of suicide. And I just asked this little girl, I said, am I a good daddy? Because I felt like at that point in my life, I failed at everything. 31 years old. I thought I was going to be this huge success. I'm living in a freaking bedroom I'm renting from a friend, sitting on a mattress on the floor, got no money, got no real skills. This little girl lifts my chin up and she says, "You're the best daddy." And man, she literally saved my life, man, because I realized that she thinks I'm super dad. She thinks I'm a great dad. I really wasn't. But I realized I had to become the person she thought I was. I had to work on me. Dude, I never worked on me ever. For 31 years of my life, I never really worked on me. I never read a book. So I started reading books. I started watching motivational videos on YouTube. I started listening to podcasts. And bro, no joke, 1 month after that happened, so in November of 2016, working on me for 1 month, I met my amazing, beautiful wife, Danielle. We've now been married for 5 years. I became worthy of her. So then, dude, everything else started to unfold. I started just kept working on myself, started making more money, started saving more. 2019, I became an entrepreneur, quit my job, and just bet on me, man. Took a leap and grew my wings on the way down.
Dude, I get chills just hearing that story, man. And it's so powerful. And I know a lot of people can relate. I know when we have podcasts or we're on Instagram, we always see the highlights. It's really a highlight reel. People don't show what's going on behind the scenes. And so you being vulnerable, sharing these type of stories, I know it's just going to hit so many people. So I appreciate you sharing that. And also I want to dive into when you started, listening to the audibles or the books or the podcasts, what were some of the mindset shifts that you had to overcome to then become the person that attracted your future wife and then also successful as an entrepreneur?
Dude, the biggest thing was realizing like whatever goes on between your ears is really what you attract into your life. Like I was so focused on what I didn't have for so long. Like, why don't I have the woman of my dreams? Why don't I have X amount of dollars in the bank? Why don't I have this? Why don't I have that? Your brain doesn't understand whether or not you're saying, why don't I have it? It's just saying you don't have it. Right. So like it's listening to what you're thinking. I'm thinking that I don't have it. So guess what? I'm not going to have it. The second I started focusing on what I want instead of what I don't want, dude, everything started to change. I started to attract the things in my life that I really wanted because that's what I'm thinking about. And it's like overly simplistic, right? But it is a real thing. You guys can do studies on the reticular activating system. It's a part of your brain that, I mean, we filter in so many things. There's so much going on at one time. We can't take everything in or we'd go crazy. There's so much stimuli. Like, for instance, focus on your big toe right now on your right foot. Wiggle it. Up until then, you might have not even known you had a fucking big toe. You know what I mean?
I was realizing how hard it was just to wiggle the big toe while you said that.
Yeah, because you're not thinking about it. But dude, you know how many times during this podcast you might have wiggled your big toe and didn't even realize it because you're not focused on it. Your brain can only process so much. So what you focus on, you start to find. So I just started focusing on things that I wanted and I started finding success in those things.
What about environment and association? That played and has always played such a big role in my life. And so when I was in that transition of, okay, I want to be around entrepreneurs, I was very intentional because I wanted to become an entrepreneur. So I was like, I got to surround myself with these like-minded people. And Harvard has even done a study where it said 95%, this is a study over 25 years, 95% of your success is dictated on the people that you hang around with. And their success will help dictate your success. So was that also a big shift for you, either environment or association or both?
Oh, dude, 100%. So 2019, like I said, I left my W-2 job. And as a W-2 employee, I was pretty successful. I was making six figures. I had it made it my career where I only had to work 35 hours a week, not a second more. So you better believe, bro, when 35 hours hit, I was out. I didn't work 35 hours in 1 minute. It was 35 hours on a dot. Again, I do not like being an employee. So,
what were you doing?
Mortgages.
Okay.
At Quicken Loans. So, yeah. So with those people as my surrounding, people that are in the mortgage industry, loan officers, not going to talk down upon them at all. They were good people. It's just they're an employee mindset. So I had to branch out and start hanging around people that are entrepreneurs. I wanted to get into real estate. So I quit the job October 8th, 2019. And I was sitting around my house, didn't do shit for like 3 months. But it's because I was just at my house. So I started going to meetups where real estate investors are at. I went to every single meetup I could find in the Valley, Phoenix, Arizona. And I got my first deal January 13th of 2020, just by being around other people that are doing it. And then because I'm at every single meetup, everyone starts seeing me as one of the investors in the area. So I get deals sent to me left and right. And that all happened just from getting around other people that are investing. As I started to get around even higher level people, someone like Zach Keeps, another one of our homies, big sexy. So when you're around people that are just on a different level, they naturally just bring you up because think about this, man. Think about if I'm a billionaire, I'm not, but I will be one day. If I was a billionaire right now and you and I hung out even just 2 days a week, you're going to start learning stuff that I know, right? You're going to start looking at things the way I look at things. And do you think that's going to help you become a billionaire?
100%.
100%. So the easiest way for me to compare that to is like, if you hang around people that are in super, super good shape, you're going to be in pretty damn good shape, because when you're hanging out with them, they're not going to be eating burgers and fries. They're going to be getting some chicken and rice. They're going to be going to the gym. They're going to be drinking their water. So you're probably going to do those same things. But dude, if you're hanging out with people that got a beer gut, you're going to be drinking some beers. You're going to be eating bad food. It's just the nature of the beast. You are who you surround yourself with. So if you want to level up, you just got to get around people that are above you.
So true. Yeah. Proximity is power too, especially if you're able to get in those rooms. Yeah, especially intimate rooms. Like you say, going to those meetups, we can talk about that for hours, because that's really how I've had any success, was being around people who are more successful than me and copy their blueprint. Like, don't try to recreate the wheel. Like, copying in school is frowned upon, but in life, that's the way to do it. Like, I tell everyone that find a mentor as soon as possible. And if that person has a fruit on the tree, follow that path. But I want to dive into what you just said. You were going into real estate. You got your first deal. Kind of continue that story. So I think you were doing wholesale and fix and flips. Is that correct?
Yeah. So first deal was a wholesale deal. I made $800, killing it. But dude, $800 might as well have been $1 million. How happy I was, because I realized I could do it. I could make money without being an employee. So $800 there. Then I started flipping some houses, and then COVID hit, and I'm like, dude, I need to learn some new stuff. I need to pivot somehow. And we started this with my song, the Mr. Burr song. So my last name is Burr, Burr. So I knew that I wanted to become wealthy. I didn't just want transactional money with flips and wholesaling. So I wanted to become wealthy. The way you do that is you hold on to properties. And the Burr method is a great way to do it. And I'm like, dude, my last name is Burr. How about I be Mr. Burr and just coin myself as that? So we made a music video. You guys can check it out on YouTube. It's ridiculous. It's a spoof to Chingy's song. I like the way you do that right there. And it's just, it's clowning.
It's fire. It's fire. That's how we open up the podcast. That's how good it is.
It was fun, man. It was fun to make that video and to write the bars. I used to rap in high school, so it brought me back to those days. But yeah, that was fun, man. I started burring properties. The market went up like crazy in Phoenix, so I sold a bunch of them, took the cream off the top, and just started getting into bigger deals. And I also learned how to become the bank. So I heard that on a podcast, and it just blew my mind. I was like, if this is real, this is insane. Like, so I started using becoming the bank with my real estate. And really, if you think about banks, they're experts at making money by leveraging hours, right? You put your money on deposit. What do? They take it and they lend it out to somebody else at a higher interest rate than what they're paying you. So they're just keeping the spread. That's what banks do. So if you can do that and have that fuel your real estate, you're making money in your real estate, but you're also making the spread like the bank does. So you're literally making money in two places at the same time with the same dollars. So it's like, that's incredible. I need to tell everybody. So I started telling everyone, mom, dad, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters. Everyone's looking at me like I'm fucking crazy. And then I got on social media and it blew up. Everyone wanted to do it. So I just figured, hey, how about I just teach people how to do this and turn it into a business?
That's amazing. And let's dive in a little bit more into that. So how do you become the bank?
So first you have to just understand what banks do. What banks do is, again, they take in deposits and then they take those deposits and they lend them out. The reason why is because a deposit to the bank is a liability. So anyone that's followed Robert Kiyosaki, liability takes money out of your pocket. An asset puts money in your pocket, right? So to the bank, when you put money on deposit, that's a liability because they got to pay you interest, right? So all they do is they take that money and turn it into a loan, which is an asset because it's putting money in their pocket, right? So first, you just have to understand what they do. They get deposits, they lend them out, they keep the spread. So the way you become your own bank is you have an account that you have full control over that's guaranteed to compound and grow, tax free. So you put money into that account, that's the deposits, just like banks. You're depositing money into an account that you control that's guaranteed to compound and grow tax free. Now you take it as a loan, just like banks do. You take it and you deploy it in a real estate deal. You lend it to someone else. You get that money back. Now you're doing exactly what the bank does. You're making an arbitrage on money, and you're just using your money as the collateral to do so.
Got it. What's some common misconceptions when people hear this strategy that they're like, they just don't understand it? And is there a way for you to kind of demystify some of them?
Yeah, because the biggest thing is when I tell people what it is. So I said an account, right? The reason why I said that is because most people, once they hear what it is, they're like, it's a scam. It's life insurance. Most people think of life insurance as a death benefit, as something you got to pay for. You have a premium. But that's regular whole life insurance. What I do is I use overfunded whole life. So you have a small death benefit, so a small cost, and then you're just putting money on top of it. That money is guaranteed to compound and grow tax-free because it's within the life insurance contract. But all the extra money you're putting in, you're overfunding, you instantly can use that money as cash value. So if you've got $100,000 in cash value, you can borrow against it. That means it's not going to stop growing because it's not moving from the policy. It's still in the policy growing. So now you just borrow against it. It's collateral to borrow from your future death benefit. Because think about this, dude. The insurance company knows you're going to die. So they'll let you borrow your future death benefit because they know that if you don't pay it back, they just don't have to pay it when you die. So you're in total control because you're borrowing something that's inevitably going to be paid out at some point. So you can pay it back and your family gets the full amount, or you can not pay it back and your family gets a little less. But if you don't pay it back, it should always be working for you to make you more money. So perfect example is I've got right now about $2 million from life insurance policies out working for me.
Yeah, you want to break down what that looks like so people can have like a live example? You don't have to go into total detail, but just like, what does that look like?
So I put money into policies as premium. Again, I'm overfunding the policy so I can have cash value right away. So I've got about $2 million of cash value that I've borrowed from my future death benefit, and it's out making me money. So about 1.4 of it's making me 15%. So that means I'm making 15% on 1.4 million, which is like 18 grand a month, something like that. While it's still making money in the policy, 1.4 million is still compounding in the policy tax-free at about 5 to 6%. So if you take a look at that, 1.4 million times 0.06, so it makes about $84,000, plus it's making me about $18,000 a month. It's the same money. I'm just borrowing my future death benefit. So let's say I died tomorrow. God forbid. My wife, actually my trust, would get the death benefit minus the 2 million because I have it out. I've already used it. See what I'm saying?
And then how much, real quick, how much did you personally have to fund into that to be able to have access to that 1.4?
I'd have to pull it up because that's over several years.
Right.
So like,
but it's less. It's less than 1.4 million.
It's probably right about 1.4. Because
okay.
The way policies work is you have the death benefit, right? So you have a smaller death benefit. That's the cost. So that doesn't create any cash value early. It takes several years. The overfunding is what gets you the cash value. So let's say I put in like 100 grand into a policy. I'm not going to have access to all 100 right away. I might have access to 70, 80, 90 grand right away. But the next year, I put in another 100, I'm going to have access to more that year than I had the year before because it never stops growing. See what I'm saying? So I've got a policy that I'm about to fund. It's my 5th year in it. It's 125 grand. It's due July 2nd. So 125 grand goes in. It should go up by about 170. So think about that. I put in 125. I can immediately use 170. So what's that? 295, almost 300 grand working for me, but I only put in 125. I'm literally creating money out of thin air, just like banks do.
That's crazy. I feel like this is just something that, like, I'm so glad people like you are out there on social media talking about this. Because like you said, you hear, one phrase, whole life or insurance, and everyone just thinks one thing when there's so many tactical ways you can do this in a way like you're doing it to actually make money and leverage the system within what you're doing. It's incredible. I know we talk about this all the time. So I love this, and I want to transition into social media and how you're able to grow your social media. And what I love is, like, you're just yourself on there. You're not trying to portray anything. You're just like, I'm going to have fun. Started off with some raps, making music videos. And then what was the transition to actually grow a large following?
Let's see. It was December of 2020. So I had already learned about the whole life stuff. Mm-hmm. And like, I got on TikTok. That was my first thing that grew. TikTok. I was in a mastermind December of 2020, and I'm telling everyone in that mastermind about these policies, how I'm using it with my real estate. And they're like, dude, why don't you get on TikTok and talk about that? Bro, December of 2020, the only thing I knew about TikTok was my daughter doing her little dances on it. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking to them, I'm like, you guys are crazy. Why would I get on TikTok and start dancing? And they're like, no, you can actually get on there and give high level information. The platform's kind of transitioning to more of an adult platform, and you can grow a following, see if you can monetize it. So I'm like, all right, cool. I get on TikTok December of 2020. I make one video talking about policies. I think it was my 3rd video. 17,000 followers overnight. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep talking about infinite banking. So dude, that was December. So probably by February, I had like 300,000 followers on TikTok. And everyone's asking me, dude, how do I set up one of these policies? I want to use a policy. So I was just sending people to the person I got my policy from.
He's like thank you.
Yeah, this dude is like, he's like, this guy's amazing. I'm sending him like 30, 40 people a day. And it hit me one day. I'm like, this is stupid. I'm teaching these people. Why don't I be the one that sets the policy up? Mm-hmm. So I got licensed March of 2021. And since then I've set up, I think, just over 3,000 policies.
Wow.
Yeah. So one of the highest producers in the nation, all from social media, 0 marketing. I just put up videos, and it's crazy.
And I think so many people overanalyze. They try to like perfect things. And even me, I'm an overanalyzer with, Instagram reels and analysis paralysis. So for you, what was your strategy? Hey, I'm just going to try this and it worked. All right. Are you looking at other content creators and kind of, following their blueprint? What was your social media strategy?
Yeah, man. I studied up on what worked before I ever started putting content out. So I would watch people on TikTok, the viral videos, and I would see like, what did they do? What was the common theme? And I would see like where they put the captions mattered, where their face was on the screen mattered. So you know how like on a reel or on a TikTok, you've got like the likes and everything on one side. I think it's on this side. So if they're all right here, but your face is behind them, that doesn't look good. It's not aesthetic. So I realized you have to be right in the middle. If the camera is like this and your face is all the way at the top, it doesn't look as good. If you're all the way at the bottom, it doesn't look as good. It has to be right in the middle. The words have to be like right under your chin. Like I realized these little things that worked. It always had a hook, something that was like getting you to listen. So I just watched a lot and I'm like, okay, I can do that. So then I would just put those elements into my videos using my information, giving value, and then having a call to action at the end. If you want to learn more, check out the link in my bio. If you want to learn more, shoot me a follow. Just always giving them a call to action at the end.
I love that. And you mentioned masterminds. Let's dive into those, because they've changed my life just because of the network that you're able to meet in there. And also if it's niche down in a certain industry, it can be super helpful. So for you, when you look at masterminds, and I'm curious, what was the mastermind that you were a part of that they told you to get on social media?
We called it the 8-figure mastermind. We all had ambitions of making 8 figures. So yeah, that was short-lived, that mastermind. We had it for about a year, but still great relationships I have from that one. But they're huge, man. They're huge. It's just, again, getting around people that are like-minded, and you might have a problem. They have a solution for it generally. Even though you don't have it, if you just bring up that problem to those like-minded people, they can help you find a solution.
For sure. And for me, I think the biggest benefit is just that belief in yourself. When you're in that room with the people who are in your head so far ahead of you, but you're just able to chop it up with them, talk to them as a normal person, you're like, this person is nothing like that special. Like, I can do it. If they can do it, I can do it. And that was my biggest takeaway early on, especially when I'm just getting into entrepreneurship, is that belief in myself, and then that confidence that came with it. Was there anything like that for you when you first got into rooms with people that were like way above you in success?
Oh my God, dude. My first one I ever went to, it was, I want to say it was probably like December of 2019. Pace Morby was there, Jamil Damji, some big hitters, right? And we're in this like round table, and I'm there with my mentor, Templeton Walker. So basically it was going around the table and everyone's like talking about what they've got going on. And I was one of the last ones. Pace is sitting right next to me. And they're going around and I'm like, fuck, what am I going to say? Because everyone's talking about how they're doing these development deals, how they're getting all these wholesale deals. I hadn't done one deal yet. I had just quit my job. I'm like, I'm an imposter in here right now, right? Yeah. So as it's getting closer to me, my boy Temp had to leave. So he had to go, like, his son's dentist appointment or something. So he had to leave. So I'm just like there by myself. I know nobody. Everyone's successful. And it gets to me and I'm like almost hyperventilating, bro. I'm like a cold sweat. And I'm like, yeah, most of you guys don't probably know who I am because I'm brand new. I'm just excited to be here.
That was all you said?
Bro. Oh, dude, I'll never forget that. And just, I was so nervous and so out of my element, but I can tell you this much is, you guys have probably heard this before, is like everything good in life is on the other side of your comfort zone. I was not comfortable in that room whatsoever, but I became friends with Pace. Me and Pace are homies now. So I became friends with a lot of other people that are in that room because I got out of the comfort zone. I was terrified to go in that room. Luckily, I had my mentor with me, so I went in. But if it was just me and he wasn't there, I probably wouldn't even have went in the room. I was that uncomfortable. But it got me out of my comfort zone. And dude, I've seen so much success. And to your point, when you get around those kind of people and you just talk to them, you realize they're just people. You know what I mean? It's just like they're no better than you or me. I'm no better than anybody else. And vice versa. It's just people that are at like a higher level than you, they just know something you don't, and they've implemented it. So you just got to be curious, find out what they know that's got them success, because most people will love to talk about their success, figure out what it is they did, and then to your point, rip off and duplicate. And then, dude, what I've found too, the greatest part about being like that, like a mastermind, like successful people, just picking their brain, being curious about what's made them successful, they end up liking you because they're like, man, this guy lets me talk about myself. No one wants to just talk to somebody that's always this, me that. Here's what I bought. No one fucking cares. They care about what they have. Even if they're like, it's a front if someone says they don't care about themselves. They want to talk about themselves. So
For sure.
if you let them talk about them, they're going to like you. And if they like you, they're going to do business with you.
So true. And I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is be more interested than interesting.
Yep.
And I think that's like the quote that anytime you get into a room, especially if you're, someone that wants to absorb and meet people, like just keep remembering that. Yeah, you should have like I don't know, call it a tagline, but your story. So people are like, okay, you're doing something. But at the end of the day, you're active listening. You're trying to figure out how can you provide value to that person. And for me, you've probably seen it. I do it all the time. It's through connections. Maybe I don't have the value for someone who's a 9-figure person, but I can figure out what do they need? What kind of resources, connections can I connect them with? And I think that's been a game changer for me.
Oh, dude, you're living proof of that. Because when you're a connector kind of person, things come to you all the time because it's the law of reciprocity. If you connect two people that are at a high level and because they got connected, they go to a higher level, they now feel indebted to you. They're like, man, we got to hook Jesse up somehow. They might not say that, but subconsciously they're thinking we got to hook him up somehow. So they're going to be sending stuff your way. They're going to introduce you to people. Dude, it's a beautiful thing. And it's a lot of it just comes from, like you said, being interested instead of interesting. One of my favorite lines, man, when I go to any kind of mastermind or whatever, is just asking people, so what are you working on right now? And then just let them tell you, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. Oh, cool. How's that going?
So much better than like, what do you do? Because people want to talk about what their current projects are. Like, what's exciting in your world right now? What projects are you working on? Like, I love that. That's so gold right there.
Yeah. What are you working on right now? Not what do you do? Like, I hate that question. What do you do? I'm like, I do a lot of stuff. like, be more specific. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
dude, as we wrap this up, I want to ask you one thing because I know you're a huge believer in it, and I've actually personally strayed away from it, and I've noticed the difference in my productivity and also just my time management when I don't have, I don't know if you can guess what I'm going to say, a morning routine. And I know you're someone who's very dedicated to it, wake up early, but I'll kind of let you share what does that look like and why do you do it and what kind of success has, happened from being dedicated to a morning routine.
Dude, morning routine is so huge. I will tell you this is it changes. It changes with the season of life that I'm in, right? So before my daughter was born, my morning routine was much different than it is now, right? You always have to be fluid and know that it's going to change. I believe that nothing in life stays the same. There's seasons to life. So right now, though, my morning routine is I get up, I drain the snake, brush my teeth, wash my face, take a quick little shower, and then I'm ready to rock and roll by about 8 o'clock at the latest. And I get through as much as I can in business in 4 hours. So by noon, I basically want to be done working by noon. But the only way I can do that is if I am like laser beam focused and I have my calendar in place. So I live by my calendar. So noon, I'm done working. Go to the gym from noon till about 2, and then get back from the gym. I just spend the rest of the time with my family. So I used to go to the gym in the morning, first thing in the morning, like 4 a.m., right? But again, morning routine had to change a little bit because life changed. So It's all about being fluid and then making sure what works for you.
Love it. Devin, we can talk for like 4 hours, bro. I mean, we do that just when we, link up, but this is what I want to do to kind of wrap up. How do people find you? Let's do that first. And then I want to ask you afterwards, what kind of value can someone reach out when they do reach out to you can provide for you? Because we're a go-giving community. We're all about not asking, hey, can I pick your brain? We want to provide some kind of value. So Mr. Burr, how do people connect with you and what kind of value can we provide for you?
So the way to connect to me, easiest way is Instagram, DMs. So my Instagram is Mr. Mr_Burr, spelled just like this. So Mr_Burr. DM me. I respond to almost all of them. I try to, at least. And the way to bring me value is, I mean, a lot of ways. Like I'm always looking to raise capital. So if you've got money you want to deploy, I've got apartment buildings that I'm raising capital on. Right now we have a 16 unit. I'm doing it in a way where I'm giving equity up. So I think it's easier to raise capital when you give a good chunk of something to somebody instead of just interest. I'm giving 10% interest plus 5% equity for $100,000 invested. So if you invest 200,000, it's 10% plus 10% equity in the property. So you're sharing in the cash flow, you're sharing in the appreciation, the write-offs. So yeah, if you've got money to lend, that's how you can bring me value. But that's also bringing you value, which is great. Everyone wins. If you're able to find properties, so if you're able to find off-market multifamily homes, send them my way. If you don't have the capital, but you can find the deal, I can raise the capital. So that's one way to bring me value. And the biggest way I can bring anybody value is teaching them how to become the bank. So there is a link in my bio. It's Infinite Banking. I have a training video. It's about an hour long. If you watch it, you'll be like, yeah, why am I not doing this now? So then you can schedule a call with someone on my team. I take some calls. I just take overflow, but my team takes most of them. And we don't sell anybody. We just explain a concept. And if you want to set it up, we'll help you set it up.
Love it, man. Go check him out. Devin Burr. There's only one way to end this, man. Come on now. Come on now. Put the glasses back on. Man, I love you, brother. I appreciate you being on. I appreciate you just providing so much value. I will see you in a few days for Immersion, our mastermind. And with that, Jesse Ray with the Growth House, my man, Devin Burr.
Yes, sir.
Peace. See you, bro.